Okay. Well, thank you all for coming to the Rhode Island Tableau user group. It's been a while since we met, so we're all excited to have our first meeting in 2022. And this is our agenda. It's a little bit different than we had planned originally. We had difficulty getting a speaker, so but I think the meeting is going to have a lot of value because we tried to come up with an agenda that would be practical for people, where you got some interesting analysis and Tableau tips that you can use tomorrow. So that was our whole discussion when we had the meeting, is to try to give information out that people could use tomorrow. So that's what our thought is. So you can see the agenda here. A couple of things may be new. News and announcements, that's new, and we're going to do that every meeting. I think it's really worthwhile to kind of make sure we're covering all of getting the right communications across every single time. And we're going to talk about the Data for Good project. We've turned that into a case study. And then also we're going to discuss a Shark Tank analysis that was done by one of the members, and he's part of the Tableau expert community, but he's going to talk more about that. And also we're going to have a tip on how to create a waffle chart. And then if we have time, we'll also show you how to, I don't know if anybody's ever used it before, this thing called dashboard extensions. And they're really easy to use, and they're neat. And they save you a lot of time. And we're just going to go through how to use, I'll just give a demonstration of how to use one of those, but it'll put you in the right spot so you can start to explore those on your own. Okay. So we've got a group of people who are on our leadership team, and most of these people are relatively new to it, but Casey Kim, Pravna, myself, Jen, and Jennifer Chapman, by the way, from the United Way, is going to join us starting next month. She's been tied up. And and we're also looking for additional people to join the team. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. Okay, so announcements and news. First thing is new to the user group is we created a Gmail account. So you can see it right on the screen. It's easy to remember, rhodeislandtug@gmail.com. So you can send us email messages. Now, with that said, we know that there's another mechanism there that we've talked about in the past, which was a community page, but nobody seemed to go to it. So we're hoping that by having this email box, that people will start to ask questions or want information, and we can direct them to the community page as required. But sometimes maybe just an email response would do the trick. We're also looking for people to join our Rhode Island Tug leadership team. So you can also send me an email if you're interested in it. And what's it take? It takes probably an hour a month, except when we're getting closer to a meeting. We might be meeting every 2 weeks. And as we get closer, we might meet a couple of times. We may meet 2 or 3 weeks in a row, but all the meetings run about an hour. And I can talk more about that. If you volunteer, we can go back and forth, and I'll clarify that for you. We're planning our next on-site meeting. User group meeting. It's the first one on-site since over a year, I think it's been. So we're excited about that. And we're thinking, we haven't nailed down a date yet, but we're thinking June, July timeframe. So I hope you can all join us there. We'll be sending out information well in advance. Okay, we're calling. We need speakers. We really scrambled and for over a month, maybe 2 months, to try to get a speaker for this meeting. And so we're asking the membership if they would be willing to speak Tableau case studies, useful feature training, or something data analytics related that would be interesting to the entire group. So hope you will send me an email and say, yes, I will be a speaker at your next meeting. Yes, we also need volunteers to demo a tip or a significant feature. If you're going to notice today, it's mostly the leadership team that are put together this whole agenda and is participating in the whole agenda. So we're really looking for membership volunteers to join us. It's fun to do a tip or show a significant feature. So please keep that in mind, and you just email us if you're interested. Okay, and the way you can do that, by the way, if you want to be a volunteer, for a tip, just say volunteer tip. If you want to be a speaker, just say speaker in the subject line. That will just be so helpful. So be specific in the subject matter so we can send it out to the right people or understand exactly what you want to volunteer for. Okay, Data for Good volunteer. We're always looking for people to do that. And we're going to talk about the Data for Good program in a minute. And so again, that's another area you can volunteer. It's interesting and it's fun, and it helps the community out. You can also expand your Tableau skills by joining the Tableau expert community. This is a community of people who are analysts, and they're interested in keeping their skills up to date. We meet every 2 weeks and on a Wednesday night for a couple of hours. And it's been fun and everybody's enjoyed it. And it's really elevated people's competency in Tableau. And I'm just going to mention this. Tableau 2021.4.4 is out and operational. And the reason I'm mentioning that, because it's been about a year ago, maybe a little bit less, I did some consulting jobs. And as I talk to people that are analysts in general, their company is nowhere near at that rev level. And I just want to point out, you really need to look into this because you're missing out on significant features that save a ton of time. There's features in Tableau now that used to take 3 or 4 or 5 steps that are a click or two now. So you really got to look at that and take a serious look at the latest Tableau revision. Okay, with that said, let's go on to the Data for Good projects. And what are they about? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that before I turn it over to Jen. Okay. Next. There we go. Okay. Data for Good commitment. Let's talk about Data for Good projects. There's usually Rhode Island nonprofit organizations. We analyze their data for them. We've been doing it for some time now. If you look down here at the bottom, these some of the organizations we've done work for, and there's a lot missing, but you'll get the general idea. And what's the commitment? It's like 4 weeks, probably 4 hours a week for 20 hours, and you clean data, do a visualization. It's fun. People usually we all learn a lot from it as well. So that's about what the commitment is, and I try to keep it there as much as we can. I know if it goes over 20 hours from experience that people start to drop out, because everybody knows that you guys have regular jobs. So if we keep it reasonable, we can get in, do a good job of analyzing the data in advance, see if it's in a form that will allow people to only spend about 20 hours on it. We'll do it. And what you gain from it, you guys know what you gain from it. And I'm not going to read through that, but you get it. And let's see what's next here. Okay, this is our latest project. It was called Data for Good project, was the Providence Noise Project. And I'm just going to summarize it by saying they were trying to get a better understanding of the culture of noise in the city. And it was definitely an interesting project. Let me just go on to the next slide, and I want to introduce the project team. I just pressed the bar and it's just slow. Next. It's just taking a minute. Okay. There we go. So the project team were these people: Pravnev, Tina, myself, Jen, and Uzma. And they all worked really hard on this project. We had some issues with the project because many of us were really, it was survey data, and many of us were not familiar with survey data, but Jen was. So she took the brunt of the project. We got to a certain stage where we were spending way too much money on it. So we had missing data format, complexity of design, the length of the, we had the survey data, things were missing. And this is all Jen was helping us, get the data in good shape. So rather than spend any more time on it, I just handed it off to him and said, look, we've given you lots of information on how you should format your data, what you need to collect. So pretty much what the team advised him of, and we're going to move on and have him circle back once he finished the work. Well, guess what? Jen Snyder decided to keep working with him. So she's from the Salve Regina University, and she will took the project on, and she's actually come up with a great solution for them. And she'll take it off from here and show you how the project went and what she came up with. So I'm going to introduce Jen.
All right, thanks, Bill. If you allow me to share. Bear with me a moment. All right. Actually, want to start here. So put you guys out of the way. There we go. So it was the Providence Noise Project, and what it was this group is looking at noise in Providence. And what they did was they set up a survey and they posted it on their website and invited anyone from Providence to go out there and talk about where they hear noise, what kinds of noise they hear. And the hope was for us to analyze and give them the data from that survey. So what they wanted to know was, again, when do people hear the noise? Where do they hear the noise? I'll talk more about the wheres in a minute. What kinds of noise people were hearing, and then what do they do to help themselves regarding the noise, and what do they think should be done by the city to help allay some of the noise issues. Well, the first issue is the data itself. There was, as Bill said, a lot of cleaning, but once the cleaning was done, I started putting together some charts and things. And this is kind of some of the features and tools that I used. I created a marginal histogram chart, which really allows you to look at the data in multiple ways, breaking it down multiple ways. Parameters and parameter actions, allowing the user to interact easier with the dashboard. Some hide and show buttons that gave us the ability to show more results without taking up a lot of space on the dashboard. We all know that space is premium. And talking again about the where, we decided that the best way to present the data was based on neighborhoods. Now, people could put their addresses in, but really, in order to aggregate the data the best way possible, we decided to go with neighborhoods. And the way that I did that was the Providence GIS Hub, which stands for Geographical Information System. There was a website that I found mapping assistance with. So I used that to help create some maps. And now I want to just get to the project. So this is the dashboard that I came up with. And again, I just want to remind you that my main focus, what based on conversations with the client, was the when, where, and what about the noise. So the main part of the dashboard is this marginal bar chart, marginal histogram. And what it does is it looks at the time of day that people notice the noise and within what neighborhood. So here you have overall 132 people, for example, said they hear noise in the morning. This was a multiple select question. So they were able to say, I hear noise in the morning and in the evening and overnight. They could answer as many as they wanted. So in Blackstone, it takes a minute. Overall, there were 21 submissions within the Blackstone neighborhood. And when you click on the neighborhood name, it filters the chart so that you can see 16 of them said in the morning, 16 of them said in the afternoon, etc. Now, over on the right-hand side, we have the sources of noise. Overall, for all 287 survey submissions, 81% of them said that they hear noise with vehicles playing loud music. Another 79%, again, a multiple select, so they could select as many of these options as they wanted. 79% said that they hear loud exhausts, and 55 fireworks, etc. Now, you may have noticed when I selected a neighborhood that this chart gets filtered as well. As well as it shows you where the neighborhood is located. And if you're interested, yes, you can choose a different neighborhood and filter it straight from the map. Across the top here, we have some informational numbers. So one of the questions, and if you hover over it, you can see the actual question that was asked on the survey. How often do you notice noise in Providence? And this is filtered as well. So 10 of the 16 people in, and I'm going to qualify that, of the 16 people in Federal Hill that answered the question, 59% said that they hear it frequently. That's how you would read this. Now, you notice here it says 17 submissions. Not every survey taker answers every question. So I'm also providing the number of people who actually answered that question. 41% of this neighborhood said they hear more noise now than they used to, and 41 said that it's louder now. Bring everybody back. There we go. And the next thing I want to mention is the show and hide buttons. These are fantastic. Now, I use them at the bottom here to show additional results. So there were other questions in the survey that I wasn't making a priority on the page, but I wanted to provide the data anyway. So here we have who is bothered by the noise, and these are the responses that were given. How do you feel when you hear the noise? And all of these are additional responses to the survey. The other thing I use those for is up here, you can learn a little bit about the project, and you can also notice that their website is posted there. So you can actually go to their website and learn more about the project. You can If you live in Providence, you can go ahead and fill out the survey as well. And then about the dashboard is, this is an overlay of how to read each one of the charts that are provided.
Wow.
Any questions? Crickets. Were there any questions in the chat? Anyone?
Well, I didn't see any.
All
Oh.
right.
Comes one now, hold on. Fantastic work.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so in speaking with the client, he kind of gave me the, kind of pointed me in a new direction. And I started playing with the data a little bit more because it's what I do. And I came up with this chart as well. Now this dashboard also uses parameters. This parameter here allows you to select which type of noise you want to look at, and then you can compare it across all of the neighborhoods in Providence. So right now, commercial trucks is selected. You can see that overall, commercial trucks get 38%. So 105 out of the 277 submissions. And then you can see within each neighborhood. So this is Mount Pleasant. There were a total of 6 submissions and 17%, or one person, said that they hear commercial trucks. And then by simply choosing something else, emergency vehicles obviously was not a huge issue. Vehicles with loud exhausts, you can see the darker the number, the darker the color, the higher the percentage. You can see the scale there. And yeah, you can just click through and see all of the, how all of the neighborhoods relate for each type of noise source. All right, and with that, unless
Nice
there are
work,
other,
Pam.
I'm sorry.
I said, nice work. Hold on, there's a chat. See, I'm gonna see if there's anybody in the chat.
Overlay again?
Can you share the link?
The link to
This viz.
this viz, yes, it is out on, actually, let me, I want to give credit to where I learned some of these techniques, and how to create a marginal histogram chart. That is the YouTube video. Andy Kriebel is, if you haven't heard the name before, learn it, go see his videos. He's wonderful. He's an excellent teacher. And he is one of the original creators of Makeover Monday. And he also gets credit for how to create a lollipop chart in Tableau. I know that other people have done both of these, but he's the one that I learned it from, so he gets props from me. And in answer to the question of, whoops, sorry about that, where you can see my dashboard, I will post this link in the chat.
Yeah, can you post the other links in the chat as well?
I can absolutely do that. Sure thing. As soon as we're done.
I think there are some questions about, I think Dexter asked a question, what about student parties? And Rachel asked a question, what's the reason that some areas responded more?
Well, it was kind of an open source project where they posted the link out on the website. So whoever saw that, it may have been sent out other ways as well. But whoever saw the link could go in there and respond to the survey. So yeah, you will notice that definitely some neighborhoods responded more than others. And was there another?
Yeah, it was a question about overlay.
Oh,
How
you
did-
wanted to see the overlay again?
Yeah. And how did you do that?
Oh, this is okay, so basically what I did was I took a screenshot of my dashboard and put it into PowerPoint. And then I put text boxes over each of the charts and described them, typed in whatever I wanted it to say. And then you save that as a picture and insert the picture into the dashboard.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, I should just note at this point, I forgot to mention it, this is being recorded. So Tableau will publish this out on YouTube in about 2 or 3 days. So you'll be able to see this all again and watch it as much as you want. You can Okay, hey Jen, that was really great, really good work.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I had fun with it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Okay, so next, I gotta share my screen. Everybody can see my screen, I hope.
Yes.
Okay, and the next one is Pradnav is going to talk about his Shark Tank data analysis and also provide a Tableau tip.
Sure. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm just sharing my screen. All right. So the biggest tip that I want to present here is using a parameter as a filter and a highlighter at the same time, where you want a parameter to filter all the other charts, but just highlight a particular category on one chart. So this was made in the Tableau expert community, as Bill mentioned. We meet bi-weekly. We challenge ourselves to create dashboards out of random data sets, and each dashboard should have a unique tip and trick. At the same time, we learn SQL for 15-20 minutes so that we get a better overall perspective on data analysis. So a few weeks back, we worked on a Shark Tank data set, which contained a lot of information like the product name, the category, the entrepreneur who participated, what equity was asked for. So here's the data set over here. So as you can see, like there was a lot of data that we had to play with. Which sharks offered a deal, which sharks did not, what product category did their product belong to, what is the equity exchange asked for. So as you can tell, there was a ton to do with this data set. Now using this data set, quickly. So before creating this data set, I created a user persona for myself. Like I imagine myself to be an entrepreneur who wants to participate in Shark Tank, and I need some sort of a toolkit to tell me which shark do I focus on, what is the right equity to ask for, is there seasonality to my product category, and the most important, how does my product category stand with respect to the other product categories in terms of number of deals. So with all this, I initially created this particular dashboard over here with that user persona in mind. So as you can tell, like this histogram here shows like the optimum equity percentage asked for a particular category, and each of these pie charts show like the number of deals, which like the total number of deals given by each shark versus the total. Like for example, Damon John had 54 deals, which he gave. So. And this shows a seasonality of the number of deals. So for example, if I'm presenting a particular category in the month of April, that, okay, it's good. Like at this point, I'm at a high odds of getting a deal. And this shows the, for each category, how many deals were given. So I created a filter for category over here. And if I'm an entrepreneur who wants to sell a baby and childcare product, I created a category filter which filters all the other charts. But when I click on baby and childcare, this chart also gets filtered, and I don't see my relative positioning with respect to the other categories. But when I use a parameter as a filter, this was a result that I could get. Now, if I select baby and childcare over here, it highlights this category, so I can tell where does my product stand with respect to the others, and it filters all the other charts, so I can tell which chart to focus on. So I think this can have a lot of use cases in general. So how did I do that? Okay, give me a moment. First, you want to click on the category build dropdown and make a parameter called category. So all you have to do is click on this dropdown and create a parameter out of this. Now, the one unique step that I did, I created another value in this list called all to make sure if in the event someone wants to see all the categories. So I put all, and I dragged all the way up. So now I already created a category parameter over here. And this is how it looks. Like I just added the word all to it, and I moved all the way up. Okay. The next step is you want to create a calculation called contains, which you put in the filter. And this is a calculation, and it gives a true or a false answer. It's a Boolean. So if the product category is equal to the category filter, is equal to the parameter, or the parameter is equal to all, it is true. Okay. So this is a calculation that was created called contains. So when you select the parameter, and it is baby and childcare, it satisfies this condition. So the filter, when I put this inside the filter, I set the value to true. And I show the parameter, and I show the category parameter in all the charts. So that's the first step. And I repeated this step for all the other charts. I put this contains filter in all the other charts. However, for this particular chart over here, which contains the categories and the number of deals, I don't want to apply the filter to this particular chart. All I want is a highlight function. I just want to make sure that whatever parameter I select, it just highlights the appropriate category on this chart. So to do that, I created another calculation called highlight calc, which is extremely simple. It's just highlight, like if the category is equal to the parameter category, color it. And I put this highlight calculations inside the color. So whichever parameter you select, it'll color that particular category. Now, when it comes to the dashboard, instead of using a filter, I use a parameter. So if you click on the drop down over here, you can select a parameter and you select category. And this is a parameter that I created. And I typically like to move all my parameters to the left so that it's easier for the user. But as you can tell, this particular parameter acts as a filter and as a highlighter at the same time. So just summarizing these steps over here. Step number one, create a parameter. You name it as category. You add all to the category list, the parameter, and move it all the way up. You create a contains calculation, which you put in the filter for all the other charts, except for the chart that you want to highlight. For the chart that you want to highlight, you create another calculation called contains, which is very simple, where you create this calculation where the category fill is equal to the parameter category. And in the chart, you Yeah, and in the main dashboard, you basically want to show the parameter instead of a filter. So what is the main use case of this chart? The way I see it is basically if you want to, like in this case, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm like, okay, I'm selling baby and childcare. Are my odds better than other products out here? Probably it is. So you can do the same thing with other categories. Like how does a particular category work in terms of trend, and but how does it compare to the other categories you're selling in terms of profitability or number of sales or quantity, etc. So that pretty much summarizes this tip over here and the Shark Tank deals analytics.
Okay, hey,
And,
thanks, Pravda. Hey, I have a question for you. Can you talk a little bit about your experience in the Tableau expert community? What have you gotten out of it so far?
yeah, so I think the biggest thing that I got out of the Tableau expert community is analyzing various data sets, miscellaneous data sets, because typically in your day-to-day job, you're used to seeing the same the same type of data set over and over again. And most likely, your company would have a particular format, like, okay, we only want bar charts, we only want tables, etc. But in the Tableau expert community, you can really you can let your imagination loose. You can create any type of chart as you feel fit. And when you're presenting this chart to the other Tableau community expert, it also improves your storytelling ability.
Great. Hey, thanks. That's why you show up for almost every meeting, I think, for the last year.
Yeah, we've been participating. Yeah,
Yeah.
this has been going on for the past year.
Hey, that was great. Thank you so much. Okay, next up, we have, so any questions about the Tableau expert community? Again, you can email us. I showed you the email address earlier, and don't forget, this is being recorded, so it'll be out in a couple of days, so you can go back and look at this again. Next up, okay. Just takes forever. There we go. Casey Kim from Bryant University. She's going to talk about how to create a waffle chart. So Casey, it's all yours.
Hey. Okay, hi everyone. My tip is simple, but I personally think that is very useful. And I also like to encourage everybody that, no matter what levels you are, or simple to complicate, we are all welcome to have any tips and also speakers as well. And I will be a good example for that. Okay, so Brian, I'm teaching marketing analytics and digital marketing analytics. So, this is one of my students' favorite exercise, because most of the times, especially beginners, they love to use lots of colors and lots of, the pie charts and donut charts having like too many categories, which I hate it. So it's simple principle, but I think that is practically very useful. And again, a great use is when you are any data, when you are considering pie or donut chart, a waffle chart gonna be another great the options for your practice as well. Okay? And again, I also found the interesting waffle chart serving like people's preference over waffle over the pancakes, and waffle one over pancakes. So why not? Okay. I got some good use for the waffle chart. Lots of people see that it's great for the KPIs, and especially when the data, including any percentage, the format, absolutely, waffle chart have some great benefit and the strength. And also when you have too many categories, unless instead of using again one visuals including multiple categories, waffle chart gonna win over that. However, absolutely there's no situation when you have more than 100%. This is 100% based waffle. So if you have more than 100%, it doesn't work for that. And if you also like to show like exact percentage, when that is critical, then, waffle chart probably is not the best option. So here is my exercise, and probably some of you got some examples if you're into what's his name? A little bit nervous, so I forgot my favorite, the Jam Master. But anyway, you might see some tutorials for waffle chart using Superstore, but I'd like to briefly go over this short exercise. And I also show you another quick survey data and how you can apply Waffle for the survey data as well. So this is the goal, to have it. And again, you can make it in a pie or donut chart, but Waffle chart, it got a great benefit to have a different segment, and visually it is much more effective to see the changes and the breakdown for each category. So if you're also interested in my step-by-step, the manual, that is for my student, but if you're interested in like detailed steps-by-step manual, feel free to email me, then I'll be happy to share that, okay? So I use the data, Superstore data, but before you, connecting your, the target data, you have to prepare the waffle chart template. So waffle chart template is preparing the waffle. In other words, waffle has a 10 by 10 squares, meaning that you need 3 columns. So row gonna be repeated the same number for 10 times, and column gonna alter from 1 to 10 for 10 times, and the percentage you're gonna counting from 1% to 100%. So then we are preparing the template from 1% to 100%. Okay? So that is where to start. And then, okay, I'm gonna switch my the screen to my Tableau, then continue the exercise. Sorry. So this is my 10 by 10, the square preparation as the template. As I said, 3 columns, and each column stands for each position in my square. So now I'll start to drop off. Sorry. So here, So here, first of all, we have to prepare column and row to dimension. So then we will prepare the framework of the waffle. And then when we are dropping the percentage, by the way, the percentage, let me change my number format to %, drop the percentage, then you will see 1% to 100%. But remember that final outcome gonna be flipped. So we have to reorder, resort the percentage from ascending to descending. And I will put percentage to the details. And I will connect the Superstore data I'm going to work on. So I like to show like profit ratio for different regions and the categories. So profit ratio, to show that, I will create the calculated field for different box with the color. And I will say profit ratio when that is equal or more than percentage, it will have the color. So box to color gonna be dropped on color. So when that is less than my percentage, it's gonna be false, and otherwise it will be true. Okay, so making some the effective framework, I will make an average with 1, so then that will lay down with the same the space, and I will double check my axis, fixing 0 to 1. And from here, what's that? I will, okay, uncheck header, tooltips, uncheck header, and tooltips, and make a the waffle shape preparation. That, yeah, for you, I'm gonna make it a little bigger. Okay. And size it to fill in the color and make a border with white. Then waffle gonna be prepared. From here, your target percentage data gonna be dropping on detail. We'll take out this. And here, we change the number format to percentage. Yeah. So we're gonna show the mark for the profit ratio. Should be gone. Okay. Then the summary of the percentage is going to be popped up, and just a little bit cosmetic work, like delete the shading, delete the line, then things going to be clean. On that, we will apply the filter. So I'm going to get region. Where is it? On here. What's going on? Out some other joint data. Yeah. So that is for the central, and I will also drop the product category. And make a title for the region here. And from that, you're going to duplicate your the waffle, but changing the selection of the filter from central to east. East to south. South to west. Then you're going to put things on the dashboard. Then you will have the waffle chart, which gonna apply the different categories showing the differences of the percentage. So this is, I mean, this is really short exercise and very easy to follow. And I also like to apply to other data as well. And one of data I found was a survey data. So this one is perceived obstacles to gender equity, equalities. I'm gonna find the data. This is the survey data, any kind of survey data. And, like the typical survey, you will have a category. In this case, I mean, for this data, we have a country information, gender information, questions, and their specific responses and percentage of respondents. So we're gonna taking this percentage of respondents instead of a ratio for profit. I'm going to show you my box to color calculated field. So everything is the same. Plug in Waffle chart template and connect your target data and find the variables which include the percentage format. And what you need to do is create box to color. In this case, I create the box to color using percentage of respondents, which is the column including percentage. And when that is bigger or the same than Waffle's percentage, then it will have a colors like that. And like a product category and the regions, you can also making the respondents differences over the categories. Like that. So the tips, I mean, this is my reference to get some idea and my motivation to share this small exercise. Ben, he is making different waffle chart. But personally, I don't think that this is effective or attractive to use the waffle. I don't really see the difference than pie or donut chart in this exercise. But probably you're gonna find the different the motivations or exercise for your data. So I'm gonna also share this reference. It also has step-by-step procedure, but I feel like it is missing some details. So again, if you are looking for my template, feel free to email me. Andy Krabel also has interesting waffle chart application. So he's actually taking rows and columns as continuous variable. So he's making like a scatter plot-ish application for waffle chart and applying two categories on here. So you can also follow his the densification waffle chart, and he also upload his video clip as well. So I hope that this is helpful in some way. Thank you.
Yeah, it was great. And then the waffle chart looks like there was a lot of steps in it. I've done waffle charts, and I think it was about a year ago. I think I saw you do it. So I went out on the internet and I looked it up, and I went step by step, and I had a little trouble at first. But once you do it and set up the template, you keep using the template over and over again, really. And its steps are pretty clear. There's multiple steps at the beginning, but once you get the idea of it, it's pretty fun to use, I have to say. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It was really helpful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna just get into here. What's next? I think we're winding down here. I think I'm just gonna do, I just want to see what next is. I hit next. Always takes a minute. There we go. I'm gonna just talk about extensions for a second. And I don't know how many of you have used this tool in your desktop, but it really is a powerful tool. So let me just talk about it for a second. Okay. Desktop extensions. And what they really are is they're applications that are already created for you and create a specific application for you. In other words, let's just watch this demo for a second and I'll show you how to do this. I'm going to change my filters here. Okay. And you can see that everything's changing in the filters. Okay. If you have lots of filters, I might want to go back to my original filter. I don't want to go out and touch every filter. So see, it says revert filters back. In the old days, before this came along, you'd actually have to write a kind of a script for it to make this all happen. There were multiple steps. Okay, so you click on revert filters back and the filters go back to the original place. So if you had multiple filters, you change them all, you want to revert back, you just click the filter. Well, that's interesting. So how's this done? Let me get out of here. There we go. Let me take this out for a second. Okay, that's gone now. So right down here in your lower left-hand corner, there's this area down here that maybe people don't explore that much, I think, and a lot of times. There's this one little note that says extensions. All I'm going to do is left click this and drag it up here. See how the white showed up? I'm going to let it go. It's going to open up some space in there for me. And lo and behold, something will pop in there sooner or later. Okie dokie. An arrow. Okay. Oh, here it comes. Okay, so this box pops up. Interesting enough, all these things in here are little applications that, if you think about it, you've done things with little formulas here and a little tweaking there, and maybe it takes you 4 or 5 minutes to get it together. Well, these applications are already built for you. So you don't have to do any of that anymore. So if you look on here, these are the different categories of attributes that you can select. And down here, you can select, so it's in a sandbox and nobody can, I usually click on free. You can explore this on your own. I'm not going to spend that much time on it, but I usually get the free ones and a lot of them from Tableau. In this case, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look at custom filters, right? I'm going to click on it. And in this here, it gives you, and if you look in here in this menu that popped up, it gives you different options. You should get in here and just explore this. This is really wonderful. See what you can do with it. I'm looking down right here. See, it says revert. I'm going to click on that one. Okay, and it says add to my dashboard. I click on it. I don't know why the error message is coming up. And here it is. This little box pops up. It says I can use a text button or I can use other options here. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to say text button. I'm going to say I'm going to use the text color green. I'm not touching anything else. I'm just going to say save it. And I'm going to say okay. And there's the revert button, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to left click and drag it over to the top. Pops in. I change my filters. I click on it. They go back to the original. How's that? So simple. There's a couple of other ones in there that might be really helpful to you. I'm just going to get this one out of here for now. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I'm going to bring up one more extension. I think I'm going to do, let's do this one.
Bill,
Yes.
did you even have to connect it through the filters, or it
Nope.
connected to your data?
Connects itself. There's nothing to do. That's what
Wow,
the beauty of these
that
are.
is nice.
One other one, I'm just going to do this quick. Another extension I'm going to show you quick based on this data. You know how everybody talks about Sankey charts and how complicated they are? You can't really use them. Well, there's a formula in here or an application in here that sets them up for you. You do nothing. You just gotta wait a minute. Something's slow here. I don't know what it is. So I definitely would explore that. I'm gonna give it another minute, see if it comes in or not. I don't know why it's taking so long. It's probably going out and to the internet. Give it one more minute. Come on, extension. Well, I might just bail on this one. I'll show you something else. Just try it one more time. Here we go. Okay, so there's another one here. I'm going to click on free because, by the way, there's a lot of companies that sell these because they're so productive. Companies will buy them, and some of them are thousands of dollars, but it saves you so much time. It's worthwhile. Again, I'm going to click on free. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go down to new viz types. Right here. That's what I'm clicking on. I just click on it. Okay, and right up in here, the first one that says show me more. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to say add to dashboard. And this has several that you can, oh, this is Sankey. Oh, this is the Sankey one. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say get started. That's the name of the sheet. I'm going to click on it. Click on Sankey diagram. The bottom here, you have to make some selections. I'm going to say category here. I'm going to say subcategory here. And for my measures, I'm going to use measure values and say, okay. And there's my Sankey chart done. So I come over here to furniture, click on it. And this is the Sankey for furniture. This is Sankey for office supplies. You can see right away what's selling, what's not selling. You can say technology, and there's the technology. You can hover over them. It gives you more information. But the whole point here is I'm just showing you how easy it is to use these things and how productive they are. And I'm surprised I don't see these too many visualizations. I'm just surprised people don't use them more because they're so easy to use. And my last tip, running a little late here, is just a quick one right here. And this is a real one that just happened the other day, and we were trying to figure out how to solve that. You come over to this chart, and I'm going to click on it. Watch what happens. Notice up here how these fade out. Has anybody run into this before? I know Jen has. Well, when you make selections, why are they graying out on you? That's ridiculous. You can see them, but they're not bright anymore. So that it's a really simple solution. So you go up to the area where the KIPs are. And I'm just going to go right over to that sheet by clicking on that button. Okay, and I come up here, and the way to solve that is, see where it says highlight? Disable highlight. And then we'll go back to it again, to the overview. Now watch when we click on something. No gray out. It's perfect. That's as easy as it can be to solve that.
So Bill, I think the reason that happens is because the data piece that you're, like in this case, state that you're filtering on isn't on the other worksheet. It's not in the context for the worksheet. So it doesn't know how to.
Yeah, but the solution is.
But I love that solution.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, let's see what else we've got on the agenda. I think we're just about over. Let me go back to my stop sharing. And I'm just going to check the sheet here. Get this out. Yep, I think that's it. So does anybody have any questions? Now remember, the whole thing here is this is being recorded. So you're going to be able to see this in a couple of days out on YouTube. So you can just, I found some of them by just putting Tableau user group 2020 user group meetings, 2020, 2022, and it's right in there. But if I find it, I'll put it out on the community page, which I will give you directions to. Like, nobody goes to the community page, so I will send you directions. If you email me and you want this video, just email again to right here, Rhode Island tug@gmail.com, and I'll send you that link so you can see the video. I'll find it for you and put it out on the community page. Okay, any other questions? I see a lot in the chat. Anybody reading those?
There's nothing new in the chart.
Yeah, okay. All right.
We like your tips on those extensions, though.
Yeah, you know, you can drill down to, there's a lot to do there. You just go explore it. And maybe you can do what somebody that's on the call can do their presentation on a really neat, you know, even better extension that we all should be using. So that's it. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.